Hey, you guys, welcome back to Rocket City Yardstead. So, we're in a different spot than you normally see me. We're actually on my front porch, and I try not to show the front of my house just because, safety reasons. You don't necessarily want to be like, hey, here, this is exactly what the outside of my house looks like in case you want to come by. But I've been doing a lot of work out here this week. And so I thought I would just give you a little peek of what I've been up to. So we had some overgrown bushes in front of our house that we cut down, gosh, like a year ago, and their root systems have died back. And so I spent some time digging out what I could. And then in the process of that, whole situation, the weeds had just gotten massively out of hand. We've sort of been utilizing the things from the new garden extension up here in the front. We use the cardboard from the boxes that our beds came in to be like a weed suppressant. And then we covered it with a lot of the Chipdrop. So I'm just going to give you a little peek. This has been quite the job, but it looks so much better. I do not have befores. I would be really embarrassed to show you guys befores, but I just thought I'd show you. I think it looks pretty nice. It's a little bit weird because it's got pine needles mixed in with wood chips and stuff, but as long as it keeps the weeds down, I think it's going to be nice to just have a nice thick layer of mulch here. So let's take a little peek. This is a camellia. My dad planted those, and so they're real precious to my mom. And then I still need to sweep the sidewalk, but we used our Chipdrop to mulch this whole bed. I will show you guys. We got this peacock years ago on a trip to Arizona, and underneath is the stump of one of the bushes we took out. So we just used it to set our peacock on. And I think he looks really nice there. But kind of look down the row. There's more work to be done, but it looks really nice, I think, right now. Just got to get some sweeping done. We have another camellia on this side. These get the most beautiful pink flowers in the winter. And in here, this big gap here, I took out a couple of bushes. This stump is just way too big. I can't get it out. And y'all, this is a volunteer oak tree. It cannot stay here, and I have tried using brush killer on it. You can see that right back there. If you have any tips for getting rid of this tree, let me know, because this little 3.5-foot garden bed is not an appropriate place for an oak. So a couple of weeks ago, we went to a plant sale that was about an hour away from us. I found it very last minute. It was listed in a Facebook group I'm in, and it was for native plants. And so we decided to try and go. And we got there too late, really. There were only a couple of plants left. But just down the street, there was a like Easter craft fair going on. And you guys, I could not help myself. That sign is so cute. I have a slight obsession with Highland cows. I think they're just so adorable. If I ever had land, I would get Highland cows. And so one of them can hang out on my front door. I want to show you my plant starts because I'm having some trouble. And one aspect is things are really ready to go in the ground, and my new garden area is just not ready yet. We are supposed to get our soil delivery this coming week, and so I will be able to load those beds up and get some of this stuff in the ground to get them hardened off. There's a chance of hail this afternoon, like large hail, and so I might not start hardening off. I'd planned on hardening off sooner, but then we have gone out of town a few times. My nephew got baptized this last weekend, so we went to St. Louis for that. And so little trips like that, they just sort of set you behind a little bit, but there are things in life that are more important than my plants. Going to see my nephew baptized, definitely more important than my plants. But we're getting some sad yellowing on the plants. I did add some fertilizer to them. So hopefully that's going to help. But I need to get them hardened off so they can go in the ground as soon as I can fill those beds. But I did want to show you, my tomato plants are looking so sad. I had some die while we were gone. I think they were just thirstier than, what I watered them before we left. So you can see some of these are going to bounce back just fine once we get them in the ground. But because of this, I went to my local nursery again and got a couple more tomato plants. I got a mortgage lifter. None of my mortgage lifters germinated this year anyway, so it was nice to be able to get that. And then I also got a super sweet 100 just because I want to make sure we have plenty of cherry tomatoes. But my sunrise bumblebees died. I have found that variety to be a little bit more finicky than others, but we love the tomatoes, and so I was really sad because we didn't get very many last year. And when I went up to the local nursery, they had 6 packs of pink bumblebee tomatoes, and so I bought one. So I'm gonna have to find somewhere to put all of those tomatoes, but I just couldn't pass up an alternative to the sunrise bumblebee since mine died. So I need to get those planted today. And I thought maybe we could go take a look at how much things have grown. It always blows my mind how different hand watering is versus actual rain. And things in my garden have exploded because we had so much rain. The flowers and basil that we planted, like, I guess it was maybe the last week, they germinated so well. So I'm going to show you. I'm hoping that maybe I'll be able to separate out some of these zinnias. I need to look into that because like every seed I planted germinated. And so I have 2 zinnias real close together in lots of places. And I'm hoping maybe I'll be able to save those and put them into the new garden area, kind of dotted throughout. Lots of just 2 little zinnias everywhere. They just all came up. Let's see if we can find some. They're super small right now, but my basils I planted have started germinating as well. Here. There's lots of them in these beds. There's one. So this flower row, it's going to be lovely in no time. I also have to show you this lettuce. It exploded with the rain. Look at how just full and lush this is. You guys, I have picked salads off of here like 3 times this week, and it's just glorious. So you guys, please forgive the weeds. I need to sit down and do some weeding, but there is volunteer basil, which is exciting, like this guy. But look, we have some baby squash. There's one right here as well. When I planted the zucchino rampicante, I only had enough seeds to put exactly how many seeds I wanted in the beds. And these seeds are probably like 4 or 5 years old now. So I was a little bit nervous about that, but every single seed germinated. There are all 3 I planted on this side. That one germinated even though I had something digging in my bed. Oh, you guys. No, it came up. Something has been nibbling. Look. Look. That leaf has been nibbled off. But that one's there. 2 would be okay on this plant. Oh, no. The dreaded... I'm going to have to spray these with BT. That is I don't know what the moth is actually called, but it makes little green caterpillars, or what its babies are, and they eat your brassicas. My cabbages have started to head. I'm hoping we actually get some cabbage. look at the potatoes. So I do want to acknowledge something. If you watch the video where I planted all of my cucumber seeds, my cucumbers are coming up. So that's very exciting. But I had said that I hoped that they would grow up onto the trellis and provide some shade for my spinach. Well, the cucumbers germinated, so I'm very happy about that. But let me show you guys. That's a spinach flower. So that's a bummer. Oh, and more morning glories. So many morning glories. But there is one of my cucumber seedlings. So grateful those are coming up. There are flower heads on, I don't know, a lot of my spinach. So here's another one that's farther along. Let's see right here. Here, there's one. It's been in the mid to upper 80s and incredibly humid. So I guess it's not super surprising, but still kind of a bummer. We did eat a really yummy salad with all spinach yesterday, which is the first time we've ever had enough spinach to do that. So I'm grateful for that. I think that amending with the feather meal has just made a huge difference to the garden this year. On to more exciting things, you guys. Look at all of the peas. This is one of my varieties that's supposed to be a shelling pea. So I don't know how well we can see right now. It doesn't come through as well on the camera as it does in person. You can see the tiny little peas in there. So this has quite a ways to go before it'll be ready to shell. But they're just covered in peas. My beautiful cilantro flowers. Our native bees, I'm not seeing any today, but they love these cilantro flowers. Sometimes I'll come out and it'll just be buzzing so loudly, and it's just beautiful. Here's our other variety of shelling peas. These are not quite as tall, but just so many flowers and peas on these plants. That guy's starting to fill out. My cucumbers germinated really well this year. I think every seed came up, so that's good. I'm not going to complain, even though I hate having to thin the plants out. The Carnauba de Messane peas did not germinate super well this year. That is not a pea problem. That is a me problem. But they're starting to put on flowers and peas, and you guys, these are just the most lovely flowers. And then our sugar magnolia tendril peas have started to put on peas. I love all of these curly tendrils. This is probably as much a part of why I grow this variety as anything else. They're just so lovely. But one of the things I really enjoy about these is that sometimes you get green peas and sometimes you get purple. And so I have a couple of plants that are green. Here's another one. And then I have some of the purple peas. I think it just kind of adds to the whimsy of things. So I enjoy it. These are still a little bit small, but I'm going to eat one. There is nothing quite like peas straight from the garden. That purple one looks like it's big enough to have a nibble. I thought I'd show you guys the carrots and onions. I need to weed quite badly, but as I mentioned, we had a lot of rain, and then I went out of town. And just like the things I actually plant, the weeds grow profusely. This is a dill plant that volunteered, and it's in here with the carrots and onions, but it's going to stay because I want all the dill I can get. My bee balm has also exploded. It's gotten so tall, getting ready to flower. So we will definitely have to come back and look at that when it has its beautiful flowers. These have not changed a whole lot, my little eggplants, but they are growing, and they were a little bit yellow when I got them, but they have greened up tremendously. So hopefully we're going to start seeing some good growth on these. The squash plants that I bought, they are really sad and tiny. These are zucchini. I don't know that they have grown at all. They were kind of root bound when I got them, and they may just not be a good option. I may need to just come out here and sow some from seed. You guys, my radishes have bolted, at least some of them, and they're blooming. You see this? That is a little bit of a bummer, although not unexpected with how hot it is. I will say, if you have this kind of thing happen and you've never tried it, if you will let your radishes go to seed and then form the seed pods, when the seed pods are young, they are delicious. I'm trying to think how I want to say this. They're really nice and juicy. They kind of pop in your mouth and they have a radish flavor to them. They're kind of sweet. There are actually varieties of radishes that you grow specifically for the seed pods. I think there's one called rat tail, which does not sound super appealing, but it's because the seed pod gets long and kind of curls, and I guess they think it looks like a rat pod or a rat tail. So we'll have to consider. I may leave these so we can eat the seed pods off of these, but not all of them have bolted yet, so we'll still get to eat some radishes out of here. Oh, you know what? I should show you the Cherokee purple tomato. This thing I think has about doubled in size since we planted it. And it's looking fantastic. And it's got some flower buds on it. That's exciting. I do want to give you guys an update on the strawberries that I transplanted into the green stock. It is still sitting out here all taken apart. Because I think we've decided we want to put it in front of the greenhouse. I don't know if we're actually going to get that built in time to do that soon. So we may just go ahead and put it together and let it sit in this area. But some of the strawberries died. They were the smaller, less established ones. And then some of them I thought were going to die, but they have started to come back. So I want to show you and just take a little bit of a closer peek. So here you can see, this is one of the strawberries I thought had died. You see all of these dead leaves, but it started putting on new green growth. There are quite a few like that. Here's another one. This is a really good example. I thought this guy was a goner, but he's put on some beautiful little leaves. Same here. Some of them really did just fully die back though. You can see there's no sign of life from that guy. Or this one. That is a weed, not strawberry. So out of 42 plants, I had 4 die. I think that's actually pretty fantastic odds given that I wasn't 100% sure what I was doing. So even though some of these are very tiny, tiny little greens on top, they survived and they're coming back. And so I'm really happy with that. We actually ordered another green stock during the Mother's Day sale that just started. We ordered the 5-tier classic green stock in the light purple color because my mom really liked that. We're thinking we're going to set the green stalks on either side of the door of the greenhouse and have both sides planted with strawberries. My mom was suggesting at some point we might want to get another one so we can plant an herb tower up closer to the house. But so far, I'm happy with how this is going in the green stock. I just need to get it assembled. Maybe I will do that today. I do want to show you some of the bigger, more established strawberries that got put in here are actually putting on strawberries. So I think maybe having a bigger root system worked in the favor of some of these plants. See, look, we have little baby strawberries. Where else? Oh, right here, strawberries. So some of these plants transplanted a lot more easily, I guess, had a lot less shock in the planting process. Since we're just kind of looking at stuff in the garden, I'd show you guys we have some apples. This tree is very tall. I did not get it pruned back. And there are apples probably a good 10 feet over my head. I do want to show you guys my other apple tree. I don't really know what's going on, but I have just branches that are kind of shriveling up a bit. The leaves are just dying. I don't know what it is. So if you are familiar with apples and know what's going on, please enlighten me. I'll go look up things and figure out what I need to do. But you can see right there, right here, but there's a lot of this in this tree. There are also apples, so that's good. I'll put my hand behind for some perspective, but I'm just not sure what's going on. I do want to show you guys my peach tree. We planted this tree and then learned that there are some major pests here in Alabama. There's something called that plum curculio. And I think that there's another bug that's some kind of moth. And so your peaches, they get this ooey gooey stuff coming out, like the larva basically burrows into your peaches. And so we found this stuff this year. It's called Surround, and it is a clay product. And I did get some of it sprayed on the tree. We've had a lot of rain since I did this, but you can see, maybe if I step back farther, you can kind of see how part of the tree down lower is more white. That is from the Surround that I sprayed on. Get up closer here and you can see it. And so I think that maybe it has helped a little bit on some of my peaches, but there's still, I'm seeing a lot of ooey gooey. Like this peach doesn't actually have any of the Surround left on it. And there's the ooey gooey. And the peaches that are up high that I was not able to spray, they are just covered. It actually started thundering while I was doing it, which is why only part of the tree got sprayed, because I did not think it was a good idea to be standing under a tree during a thunderstorm, you know. So I'm a little bit sad to see so much ooey gooey, but if spraying down here low manages to save some of these peaches and we get anything off of this tree, I think I'm going to call that a win, because I think I've eaten about half a peach off of this tree in the past just because this pest is so prolific. And I'm in a Facebook group called North Alabama Gardening, I think it is. And I've seen so many photos of people's peaches, and they are just like me. They had no idea that this pest was so prolific here, but we're learning. We're going to get peaches off of here sometime, even if it's not this year. We're going to hope for the best, because I do think, like, this peach looks perfect and it got sprayed. So maybe this has worked some and we're going to get to have some peaches. Now, no, I don't know. We're going to hope for the best, you guys. These look like they don't have ooey gooey. There are a good amount that are still looking really good. So we're going to focus on the good peaches and know that the tree really needs to be sprayed. This raised bed area, it's basically the same as it was last time. We had all that rain. The Chipdrop did not sink with the rain. I'd hoped it would, but my sister-in-law sent me a video. I think the man's name is James Prigioni. I might be saying that wrong. I'm sorry. Sorry if I have it wrong. But she sent me this video where he was using aged wood chips in the bottom of his beds, but he actually got in and stomped the wood chips down. And so we decided to give that a try. I got in here. I don't have any footage of that, although it'd probably be pretty funny. And I thought I'd show you. It really did make a huge difference in the level. It gave us, I don't know how well this comes through on camera. You could kind of see here on the edge. I didn't get the edges stomped quite as well, but you can kind of see there where the level goes higher. We stomped half of this bed and got a good like 2 to 3 inches back at the top of the beds. So I think there's still a good chance. I'm gonna need to take some wood chips out of the beds because I think I maybe overfilled them a little bit. But stomping is definitely going to be a thing we do as well, just to make sure everything is nice and compacted. I think that's going to be really helpful too, because as the wood chips break down, they're going to sink anyway and going to need to top off the soil. And so making sure they're as compacted as possible to start with means it's going to sink less. So I think that's about all I've got for you today, guys. We are going to start this afternoon working on trying to figure out the base of the greenhouse. We're going to have to do some leveling here. I don't know how well you can tell that our yard slopes a little bit. So we have some thoughts and plans, but just straight talk, not a tutorial, because we're kind of jerry rigging things. So this afternoon, I will probably film some, but it won't make it into this video. But we are going to start working on leveling for the greenhouse. I don't think we're actually going to level the ground. We're more going to build retaining wall. There will be some digging, obviously, up on the higher end, but we're going to do more like wooden retaining wall with, I think we're going to use 4x6 pressure treated lumber to make the base. And once we get that taken care of, we'll get our landscape fabric out. We'll get the other beds put in, deal with the rest of the giant pile of Chipdrop in the yard. And then hopefully, my hope is that we're going to have all of this kind of taken care of before the soil gets here on Wednesday. Because once that soil comes, I want to get the beds topped off with the soil and get to planting. Because those plants that I showed you earlier, they are really ready to be out of those little cups that they're in. So yeah, that's where the garden's at. That's where the new area's at. Lots to do, but thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I hope you're getting out in your gardens if you live somewhere that's warm enough. And I will see you guys next time. Hopefully we'll have some major progress then. Bye, guys.